Okay, today's video is going to be something I hope is very simple. We're going to be making little notebooks, or what I call field manuals. Now, this is my field manual. Okay? Right here. Right. It's held together, believe it or not, by these little shock cords. And if I open it up, you'll see that it's just regular notebook paper that's stapled. Here's the easiest way to do this. Okay? You're going to take 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, and this is the easiest way that I found. You're going to count out 5 sheets of paper at a time, total 10 full sheets of paper of 8.5 by 11. 10 of them, but do 5 at a time. Okay, so what's going to happen is that when you cut 5 at a time and you get a total of 10 sheets, essentially you've got, out of 10, you're going to have 20 complete sheets of paper. I mean, not complete. You're going to have 20 sheets of paper. You're going to have the top side and you're going to have the bottom side. All right. So this is what it really looks like. Just give me just a second here. All right. So count up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So watch this. A little bit off camera. I'm going to fold it in half. Now remember, you're going to do 10 total, but for demo purposes, I'm going to do 5 in front of the camera. Crease it really well. Okay? Really use your nail on it, or the back of a ruler works best. Let me get a ruler. Okay. Essentially what you want to do is you want to make the crease so solid that the paper has no choice but to follow what you're doing. Okay? Alright. So now that you're done with the ruler, just set it aside. Watch this. You open this up and follow along. Pull back and keep pulling back, and you should get to do this fairly easily. Like that. Now if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. But with just a little bit of practice, you'll have the top side of the sheet and the bottom side of the sheet. Now what you want to do is fold those over again, and you want to keep them in somewhat order. Okay? So you won't have to super crease these at all. You won't be able to super crease them and staple them. That's just for cutting purposes. Okay. This isn't being too cooperative, but here you go. Right. You won't need to crease these just once or twice. Okay. So open this up. Now you have 10 sheets of paper. And front and back, I would say you'd have like front and back, you'd have like 20. It's just simple math. I mean, it's not a big deal. Whether it's right or wrong, it's not a big deal. It's not about accuracy. Here's the fun part. In order to get the staple to land, you're going to need a little bit of practice. You're going to need a stapler that you'll know exactly where the staple's going to land based on this little item here. Okay, I'm going to take this apart so you can see. Watch this. You see that little metal plate that's on the inside? That's exactly where the staple's going to land. The hammer portion, or that metal plate, pushes the staple clean off and onto your paper. And with just a little bit of practice, you'll know exactly where it's going to land. Okay, so here's, like I said, the fun part. You'll need a sacrifice box. And what I mean by that is something that you could drive the staple into and not worry about the contents on the inside. Preferably, you want an empty box. Okay. So you're going to grab this, 20 sheets of paper, push down just a little bit, and there's your line. Okay. Now you grab your stapler, and if you line it up, you'll know exactly where your staple's going to land. But watch this. Here's the cool trick. Line it up, push your staple down, and then pick it up just slightly to improve the angle. And there you go. Staple lands exactly where you want it to. Okay, so you pick this up and pull this out, and there you go. Now what you're going to want to do about that is this. Grab yourself a butter knife that you really don't, I hate to say it this way, but you really don't care what happens to it. This little staple is just a little bit off, but it's not a big deal. And you're going to push the staple and flatten it out. The accuracy on this is not a big deal. You'll still be able to fold the sheets over, no matter what. Okay, now let's try that again, and maybe the accuracy will improve a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to pick it up ever so slightly, and I'm going to try to land it right on the crease. There you go. Now you can use an old telephone book for this as well. Something that's a soft cover. Okay. This staple landed exactly on the crease, but like I said, it's not a big deal. We're not doing this for accuracy. We're just doing this so that way we can drive the staple through and then push it down with a butter knife. Okay. Takes a little bit of practice, but put your finger on the other side, you'll be able to push the staple down. And there you go. Your own personal little notebook. Right. So there you go. Staples through. Now here's the really cool feature about this. So you're out in the field and your coworker, your buddy, or you need to pull a sheet of paper out. If you do it from the inside, okay? If you do this from the inside, you won't have to worry about the rest of the sheets falling out. If you do it from this side, the last sheet, the first sheet is going to fall out. You always want to pull extra sheets of paper from the inside. Okay? The inside of the notebook. Now the reason being is that right off the bat, you'll get half a sheet of paper. Like so. So no other sheet of paper will fall out. And then your staples are right here, so you'll be able to pull it out real easy. Always from the inside. Okay, here's the other fun part. What you're going to do here is you're going to find a way to make a hardcover. You're going to want to find the margins and just cut it ever so slightly oversized. Okay? You'll take a marker and trace around like the tip of the marker, make it oversized. Okay, so you draw all the way around, and there's your front cover. Alright, so essentially what you want to do is you want to do this open. Okay. So there's your corner. Here's the tip of the marker. All the way around. Okay. All the way around. Then you'll take a pair of scissors and you'll cut that out. Now in order to attach this to the front of your notebook, on the very last stack of 20 sheets of paper, that's where your notebook is actually stapled to the front cover. On the very last stack. Now how do I know this? Because at every 20 sheets, that's your insert. Every 20 sheets. So if I were to count 20 sheets down, that'd be one stack of papers. And how do I know that it's 20 sheets down? Well, it looks like this. You see here's 10 and here's the other 10. Okay. So on the very last one, that's where your cover's going to land. Sorry about that. I dropped my butter knife. So you'll take your last 20, you'll take your cover and crease it, and then you place it on the last 20 of the notebook. Right? You put it here, then you take your box and you line up your cover with the crease to the last 20 sheets, and that's your cover. So you take every single 20 sheets of paper and you've got your chunky notebook. Now it doesn't have to be chunky, it can be thin. Your notebook could be, I don't know, 40 sheets, 80, so on and so forth. Here's the fun part, and I'm going to leave this up to you, and it's super easy to figure out. The way you keep all the 20 sheets together are with these shock cords from tennis shoes, preferably work boots. And then you just tie it, keep tying it around, and then you take a smaller portion of it and tie it perpendicular. You can see it right here. Here's the knot. And then you've got a way to close your notebook and keep it closed. In order to keep the pencil from falling out, I'm going to show you a really cool trick. You take your pencil and insert it under the rubber band. And there you go. Your pencil will stay secured. And then you wrap this around. And there you go. You've got your closure. That's how you make your own personal notebook field manual. Or you can make this a fun kids project. Now remember, the only thing that's, I don't want to say risky or extremely dangerous, is the stapling portion of it. Adults only. Adults only. Okay? Now if your kid's savvy enough and careful enough, they can try it. Just don't let them staple themselves. Okay? Please be careful. It's supposed to be a fun project. Remember that. This little hammer tells you exactly where the staple's going to land. Alright? And that's your video for today on how to make a notebook. Chock full of bonuses. Let me run through the type of materials you're going to need one more time. You're going to need notebook paper. Cut 5 sheets at a time for a total of 20, and that's going to be your insert. Okay, notebook paper, your front cover. Pencil is optional. You can use whatever pencil. I prefer chunky pencils because it's really hard to break the tip. Okay, so front cover, marker, butter knife, ruler for scoring, hard scoring, fold in the paper, and lastly, your sacrifice box. The one thing you're gonna staple into, and it could be a box or something flimsy like a soft cover phone book. Okay, so that's your build of materials. You can do substitutions if you like. The only part that's not going to be substituted is this little shock cord. So that's the last thing on the list. You can even use leather or even a shoelace. The reason I prefer the shock cord is because it's real easy to take off and you get to play music with it afterwards. So y'all have a good day and we'll see you on the next video.